Healthy Scratch Red Wings Report, presented by 5v5hockey.com.
Yo, welcome back to the Healthy Scratch Red Wings Report. It's Buschy with you once again. If you enjoyed today's video, please like, comment, and subscribe for more Red Wings content. So the Red Wings have been on a road trip. They just went 2-2. They beat the Kraken today. They beat the Flames 5-0 the other day. Obviously, a rough start to the road trip. Very, very good ending. So with a split, we'll take that. Still in a playoff spot. Still have a cushion of 4 points. So things are looking good so far. Now, things that I have been starting to think about, things that have crept into my mind recently, is something that I hold near and dear to my heart. If you look back in the last few years, the Buschy and Bobo show, it's the trade deadline. We love the trade deadline. We love going through it, seeing maybe who's going to be buying, who's going to be selling, who's standing pat, who's available, where would they fit. And looking at the Red Wings, if they're in a spot where they're in the playoff chase, which they are right now, in a spot, what do you think they're going to do? I've already said in a previous video, I don't think they're going to be doing much. But what if? What if they did? Because there's a name out there that I've been looking at that I think makes sense for the Red Wings. I want to see what you guys think. I'm going to lay out everything you need to know about this guy. And as the title says, it's Noah Hanafin from the Calgary Flames. Now, he's a 6'3", 215-pound defenseman. He shoots left. He's 27 years old, and he's going to be UFA at the end of the year. So right now, he's making $4.95 million. He has decent stats. The Calgary Flames aren't really doing that well this year. They have some talent on their team, and it looks like there's going to be a fire sale. You know, like look at guys like Jacob Markstrom. Hanafin might be a guy that they got to move on because apparently what happened this year with Noah Hanafin is they offered him an 8-year extension and he kind of got cold feet. And we're going to go through maybe what this would look like going forward because if he's unrestricted, you're going to have to make a decision. You're going to have to sign him, right? Now, what kind of player is he? He's a puck-moving defenseman, first pair guy. So if I'm looking at where he would fit on the Red Wings right now, he'd be up on the top pair. As a left shot defenseman, you would naturally think, well, he'd be with Moritz Seider. If not, he'd be in top minute role. Now, just from reading some of the scouting reports, obviously I'm not looking at a lot of Flames games, but his skating is very, very good. His hockey IQ is off the charts, and his assertiveness. So his gap control is something that even watching when they played the Red Wings, he did stand out in a pretty good way, I think. When I say gap control, meaning not letting the forward coming in on a rush have too much space. You're trying to get him to go a specific way, and you want to be within striking distance. If you give them too much space, they're going to get creative and make you look stupid. So Hanafin does not get caught that much. His gap control very, very good because his skating is very good. Another thing that will fit the Red Wings is he joins the rush, and that's something that we see Moritz Seider doing. We see Jake Wallman, these defensemen, and from time to time, like today, Ben Sherratt joins the rush and scores in overtime. So the Red Wings defense is active. Hanafin is a guy that does that from time to time. A couple advanced stats that stuck out to me is he's in the 95th percentile defenseman for shots on goal. So gets the puck to the net a lot. And he's also in the 97th percentile in skating distance. So guy covers a lot of ground, chews up a lot of minutes. And that's something that I think the Red Wings could definitely use. And I think we can all agree on that. And then the other stat that I really liked is he's 11th in the league in defenseman for takeaways in 60 minutes. So he's taking the puck away from the opposition a lot. As a defenseman, that is something that you look at that. Now, one thing he's not going to work a blue line like Adam Fox or Quinn Hughes or Cale Makar. That's just not what he does. He's going to quietly work from that blue line. I don't even know, like, he would be on a power play. Maybe there are some options the Red Wings have. If they're going to trade for a guy like this, he will be on a power play. But he's not one of those I'm going to skate all around the offensive zone type defenseman. So if you're thinking that's what he is, he's not. He's going to be steady. He's probably more comparable to a guy like Mo Seider, where once in a while, he'll go with it, but most of the time, he's going to stick at that blue line. You know, he's going to go east-west. He's going to make some plays, and he's going to jump into the rush. Now that we know who Noah Hanafin is as a player, and if you don't really know, then go look at some Calgary Flames highlights. Go and see if you like what you see, because I do. Why Detroit? Now, this is kind of an obvious question, I think, is the Red Wings definitely need more blue line help, because right now I find the defense is very volatile. They're either really, really good or not so much. And lately, I have made comments that they get outshot more often than not. If they played 10 games, they probably got outshot 9 of them, but they probably won 6 of them, and that's probably credit to Alex Lyon. And maybe even if we dive into advanced stats, where these shots are coming from. You know, are they high danger chances or are they a lot of perimeter? That's not what this video is about, but it's something that I always question. But getting a boost on the left side of the defense is something that I would be okay with. And the Red Wings do have space to re-sign him, and they do have the assets to trade for him. And that's something where I think the Red Wings are going to have maybe I want to say an easier time, but it isn't going to be as hard as there aren't a lot of teams in the league right now that have, number one, the cap space, and number two, the assets to trade for a player like Noah Hanafin. So if you think about, you know, the market and how things would work, the less teams that are looking at him, there's less competition, and there's really not a lot of leverage for the Flames to like, hey, I want more, I want more, I want more. There's not that many teams to go to ask for what you want. Some of the teams that maybe would be looking at him, like, I don't know, like Vegas maybe. I mean, the Leafs are always in on everybody. But, you know, there's teams that I don't think they'll be able to pull off a trade for a guy like Noah Hanafin and then also re-sign him, because I don't know if a team is going to look at him and go, hey, pure rental, right? Now, that's the biggest thing, and I want to stress this. This whole idea that I'm going to talk to you about right now is definitely contingent on Hanafin signing an extension. We're not renting him, right? So if that's something where he shows no interest in wanting to sign in Detroit, then this is just, we're not doing it, right? Let's just assume, hey, we offer him a deal, he's going to take it in the offseason. Obviously, that's something that I think you could get permission to talk to him and go, hey, we're about to trade for you, what do you think? So I was reading a Daily Faceoff article, and it was about Noah Hanafin, not specifically with the Red Wings, but what it might take to get him. And one of the comparable returns was only a few years ago, and I want to go through the trade right now. It was actually Hampus Lindholm from the Anaheim Ducks going to the Boston Bruins, and it was at the deadline. Similar situation, unrestricted free agent, and then Lindholm actually signed an 8-year extension. So the trade basically was Hampus Lindholm going to Boston, and Anaheim picked up a first, a second, a third, Vakanainen, and John Moore. Now it seems steep, but they did stagger all the draft picks in different seasons, so they gave up one pick for like the next 3 years. They only gave up one first rounder. Vakanainen was a prospect at the time. He is in the Ducks lineup right now. The Anaheim Ducks are not that great right now, but he is in the top 6, so we'll say he's an NHL defenseman at this point. John Moore, kind of a journeyman. I kind of think it was maybe just a throw-in as maybe a roster spot. Who knows? So if we take that deal and we start to look at, okay, if we plugged in the same type of players for, you know, Noah Hanafin, who would this be? Because the one that I wrote down is a trade that I would definitely make, and I'm going to go through why. So I would say to the Red Wings would be obviously Noah Hanafin. Going to Calgary, we give up a first. Now, it can be this season's, next season's, the year after, whatever you want to do, a second and a third. So we're giving up a first, a second, and a third, and we're also going to give up either Albert Johansson or William Wallander. Now, I actually toyed with maybe giving up both, which I know is maybe a little more steep. But Albert Johansson's like 23 years old, so, you know, he's ready to make the jump now, but we also have Simon Edvinsson and Wallander and Axel Sandin Pellikka. The Red Wings have stockpiled prospects for years and years and years for a position like this. When I look at trading draft picks, this is a type of player that I would be willing to do it with, because he would be part of the future. I know he's 27, but you could sign him until his mid-30s, and he would still be an effective defenseman. And if we do it this year, that first rounder, I'm thinking it's going to be like 15th overall to like 20th. It depends on where the Red Wings end up. It's going to be somewhere in the middle. I think being in a playoff spot, you're in the top 16 teams, right? So that's going to be in the middle of the first round. I would say that that's a pick that I would be willing to give up for Noah Hanafin. And if you're thinking about the year after, this year, and the year after next, I'm thinking the trajectory of this team is that they're going to continuously get better, so those first-round picks are going to get lower and lower and lower. So I don't mind moving a pick right now. Steve Yzerman went after Alex DeBrincat with a first-round pick, and I know they had 2, but this is something where I go, if you're getting a player with talent like this, let's go get him. And like I said before, the Flames apparently offered Noah Hanafin an 8-year deal worth $7.5 million. So that's kind of the ballpark of what he'd probably be looking for. Now, I know what a lot of the comments will say is, well, oh, I only want to sign him for 5 or 6 years because he's 27 years old and $7.5 million is a lot. obviously you'd want to get him for maybe that 4 to 5 year term and less money. Like, that's just how it is. But you're going to have to pay him. So if it's 8 years and $7.5 million, that's not that bad. I don't think I would think twice about that. I think I would sign him. We're looking at, and a lot of things I think you guys will talk about too is, oh, well, there's a lot of, money on the books, but guys like Ben Sherratt, Justin Hall, Ole Mata, like, they're all going to be off the books at one point, and if we really needed to buy one out for a season, like, so be it. But the Red Wings do have a lot of cap space, and even with re-signing Mo Seider and Lucas Raymond, we can make this work. So I wouldn't freak out about the money part. But what do you guys think? Like, is that trade offer, does it sound realistic? Like, if you were a Flames fan, would you be like pumped for the return? And I think the reason that would be a first, a second, a third, and a defensive prospect, maybe even throw in a guy like, well, I don't even really want to give up a guy like Ole Mata, but if they want a roster player back, like, take him. But what do you think? Is that something that would work? I think it would, just because I don't think there's going to be that many teams going after him because they can't afford it, right? So let me know in the comments what you think. Is Noah Hanafin a player you want the Red Wings to go after? Do you think it's realistic? In my heart of hearts, I don't think this is going to happen. I think Steve Yzerman's going to pretty much stand pat, not do anything crazy. But if he went for something nuts, I think this would be it, and I don't think it's that crazy. I think it does make some sense in the way that he's building a team and how he wants this thing to go. So leave a like, comment, subscribe for more Red Wings content. I'll see you in the next one.